Hey guys, my name is Max Blücher, and today I'm going to show you simple mindset shifts that make producing super easy. So, here are some tricks and tips I love to use and I learned over the past 6 years that just make producing so much more easy and intuitive for myself. So, the first thing is keep it as simple as possible. Don't try to overdo it, try to keep it as simple and as clean as possible. I'm going to show you today a track of mine I created recently to show you what I mean by that. So let's get started here with the main piano loop. I just found a piano sample and I started chopping it up. I processed it at the beginning with some simple channel EQ, some phase distortion, some compression, one effect, and some sidechain. If I layer this with a kick, it already sounds very full. Some bass, some drums, so some hats, some snaps, another clap to make it nice and full. And now a shaker. And before I introduced the shaker, I used a fill. And the thing is, what I'm trying to show you here is it's extremely simple. This is a bass line, one main melody loop, and some percussions. And I used a ghost kick, and here and there also used some fills every few bars. So it sounds a bit more full, sounds something like this. But that's it, and it already sounds super full. So keep it as simple as possible is the first thing. The second thing is apply that philosophy not only to your production, but also to the effects you're using. Don't try to overload it to look cool, just really try to keep it as simple as possible. Every single one of these has an intention. I'm not just using 4 multiband compression for no reason. This is so I can duck certain lead elements later on in the mixing out of the way of this piano. Now, I also always add one lead element at a time. So for example, here, the lead element is this piano loop. And then this lead spiral arp from Diva is slowly gaining the attention of the track. After I played this for a while, I'm creating the vocal. But it's only always one element at a time, so everything stays super clean and super neat. This is super important. Don't try to layer too much at once. I would always recommend go step by step, especially if you're a beginner, and just try to do it as neat as possible. Now, in terms of mixing, I've always been thinking, okay, there has to be a certain process. There has to be a certain strategy. I watched thousands of hours on YouTube, but something I really realized that helped me a lot is only do what really sounds good to you in the end. For example, I used to always export the track in audio and then start to mix it. And there's certainly a lot of advantages to it. But recently I started mixing inside my productions, and it has been helping me a lot because it gives me a lot more control over the track and I can just finish it a lot faster. And plus I can make the sound in the production phase already sound super full and big. So for example, I love to just use a very simple mixing routine. I always love to use my EQ, some compression in the production, then some effects like Crystallizer, Echo Boy. As soon as I go more towards mixing, I try to make the sound super full in mono as well after I balance the mix. So for that, I sometimes use Saturn and just completely saturate it in mono if it's not sounding thick enough in certain frequency bands. And then I just basically go over to some Magma BB Tube compression, which sounds amazing. It's my favorite saturation plugin on the market. And then I use some high pass again to remove the low mids caused by saturation. And then I put this all into a sidechain. Now, the sidechain can also come earlier. It doesn't really matter too much as long as it's like behind the effects usually, but it doesn't really matter too much depending on what you want to achieve. And yeah, that's basically it. And then I also use multiband side chaining if I want certain things to not be in the way. But since this is the lead, there's nothing really in the way of this lead element except maybe these vocals. But yeah, so that's basically it. That's the entire mixing process. Super simple and straightforward. Then some left and right panning, but it already sounds super full and super good. And it's because it's simple and effective. I don't need to have a bunch of processing and a bunch of plugins. These are my favorite ones. Have intentional sessions of production and intentional sessions of mixing. Don't try to combine them too much. Don't try to mix in production and don't try to produce in mixing. Really try to separate these things and you're gonna save so much time. Also, if you have productions that you just started to produce but you can't finish them, don't abandon them, list them and structure them. This is gonna help you so much and you don't have to like throw them all away. Something that I used to do, I used to delete all my ideas I have stored after I produced music. So for example, if I finished a track, you know the problem. You have a bunch of tracks that you didn't use in your production and you can, you would usually delete those tracks. But what I started doing is I started summing them up in a group folder. And now I have all of these samples that are in the right key and all of these cool MIDI ideas I had when producing this track. And I can make a whole new track out of this. And you can just go through them and you can start a whole new song out of them. There's no need for you to throw them away or trash these ideas. There's a lot of value right here. So I can really recommend you create a folder with all the tracks you haven't been using and try to save them. It's gonna really help you a lot in your whole production journey. And you're not gonna throw away stuff that you will not be using, you're gonna just save it. So that's a huge tip. Now, next up is just accept roughness. Don't expect everything to be perfectly polished. Even this mix could use some work, but I'm still gonna release it pretty soon the way it is, just because I just want it to be released. I don't really care about the perfect track. I just want it to be released and jump right on the next track. My strategy is a bit different than most producers. I like to produce quality and quantity equally. I don't try to put quality above quantity or quantity above quality. That way, I'm not obsessing about the perfect outcome on the sound later on, but I'm also able to produce consistent music. And this is super important. So try to just stack this up and try not to over polish it and try to stack up some tracks for the future. Just release them. Also, don't ask too many producer friends about feedback about mixing and mastering. It's just gonna cause a lot of confusion. If you like the way it sounds, go for it. And if you like serious feedback, actually contact other third-party mixing engineers that are not your friends, so you get actually detailed feedback. And don't rely on producer friends' feedback because they're your friends and they're always gonna hide certain aspects maybe of the mix and won't give you the harsh reality. So this is super important. And always, guys, always focus on the process and not the outcome. That's the most important part here. And yeah, guys, make it as simple as possible. Don't try to overthink mixing. Don't try to overthink producing. And just, yeah, hope these techniques helped you. All right, have a great day. Please like and subscribe if you like this video. And have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.